First tonight, police are warning the owners of short-term property lets to be careful after finding several being used for illegal parties. Well, it comes as COVID rates in Mansfield have risen to the highest in the country. But today, many thousands of Urswell have been enjoying the newly reopened shops and bars. And our social affairs correspondent, Jeremy Ball, is in Nottingham's Lace Market. Good evening to you, Jeremy. It looks so lovely behind you, such a nice sight to see, and what a difference a day makes.
Oh yes, I mean, I'd forgotten how good a freshly pulled pint could make until last night, but just look at this, so many more people enjoying their newfound freedoms. In fact, just had a quick rendition of Happy Birthday over there. There is still a big challenge though, and that's persuading people to stick to the rules so that all that progress that's been made during lockdown isn't simply wasted. A taste of life as we used to know it, a drink with friends in the sun. This is Leicester, emerging from the shadows.
It was just so lovely to see so many new places popping up across the city centre. People were very considerate, lots of face covering, social distancing, and the queues were really well managed. It's far from the end of COVID because the businesses, it's been really tough for them during the last lockdown, and we need to make sure that this is the beginning of the easing of the lockdown forever.
And look at this, hundreds joined this queue in the centre of Nottingham today, the police making sure that people didn't break the COVID rules. That's what happened up the road this weekend when a flat here was rented for a party. 85 guests, each handed an £800 fine.
Very shocked. I mean, to almost have 100 people within a premises is crowded and dangerous anyway. During a pandemic, it's just highly irresponsible. What we do ask is that anyone who's renting their property for short term, think about what the regulations say. These shouldn't be rented out for parties, they shouldn't be rented out for other gatherings at the moment. We're just at the beginning of the lockdown easing, so please can ask everyone to be vigilant.
And today, the Mansfield district became England's worst COVID hotspot as case rates climbed to almost 4 times the national figure. Testing in 2 local schools identified around half those cases. Others are adults juggling different jobs where they're mixing with different people.
It's particularly an issue for us where we find that we've got families and communities who are particularly hard-pressed economically. So it's of real importance to us that we find the right ways to sufficiently support people to isolate, because isolating after you've got a positive result is the key thing we need to do to stop the spread and to prevent the chain of transmission.
And that's why this holiday home in Derbyshire's been shut down. Its owner accepted over 60 guests during lockdown. Now he's been fined over £7,000.
So, Jeremy, this is stage 2 of easing lockdown. When are we moving on to stage 3, fingers crossed?
Hopefully in about 5 weeks' time on the 17th of May. Things are and looking pretty good for that at the moment. First of all, we know the vaccination programme's going well. 95% of over 50s in this region have now had their first jab. You will have heard they've opened bookings for over 45s today as well too. A number of other tests are being met as well. Far fewer people losing their lives. The number of people testing positive has dropped substantially too. Why the caution? Well, first of all, the possibility of new variants that might make the vaccine less effective. I think, though, the big worry is people just getting complacent and stopping following those rules.
Talking about those rules then, just give us a quick reminder of what they actually are.
Well, there's one big one. It is still illegal to socialise indoors unless you're part of a support bubble. Now, you can mix outdoors with 2 households or in groups of 6. You can do that places like this or in parks or in gardens, of course. If you can work from home, they're asking you to do that. The key message they're asking you to remember, though, of course, are those words: hands, face, space and fresh air.
OK, thanks for that indeed, Jeremy.